here with Done by Dorothy. We are here today. We're working on day 5 of our For the Love of Australia journal, and we're still doing our base pages. So I wanted to work on this next one, and I decided I actually want to use 2 animals on this one. I want to use the wombat, and I want to use the spotted tail native cat. So let's see. Yeah, I'm going to do my sort of follow along and that how I've been doing along the way. If you're just tuning in, there is a playlist for all of the Love of Australia videos that we've been doing. And we're just doing this for the month of February. It's one of the things we're going to be doing. But just sort of as a salute to Australia with everything that has been going on over there. We just thought it'd be sort of nice. Okay, let me get those out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and grab my vintage photo ink and ink up around my edges, so I have that done. I have a little sharp point there. I sort of like it to be more rounded and not so sharp. Again, right now we're doing our base pages, and then we'll do our covers. Then we'll go back in and we'll add our sort of ephemera type pages with all of our tucks and spots and, you know, lots of journaling areas and things like that. So today I've been trying to use some different things. We will be using our gold leaf pen again today. Or, you know, if you have gold paint, if you don't have a pen, or, you know, any kind of gold tone marker or anything like that. Or if you don't want to use gold, I mean, you're free to use whatever. We've been using greens and golds. So one of the things that I'm going to do is, I happened to hit my Walmart up, and they were going out of, they were bringing in their new paint chips, and so they were getting rid of their old ones. So I happened to, the guy was like, oh, just grab, you know, one of each if you want, or whatever. So I did grab a handful. So I pulled out all of my greenish, sort of yellowy, goldish tones. I think I have a couple more yellow here. Let me see. Well, there's another green. There's some brighter green. I really don't want to use that lime green's a little too green. That one's not bad. And we could use brown, some earth tone browns. Well, no, let's stick with the green. Here's some more green back here. There's actually a couple different ones of those. There's a sunshine and a May tulip. There's a Mayapple yellow, a prairie grass gold. So we use those. And I'm sort of gonna collage, but it's going to be a colored collage. And I'm going to use my punch. I have this, it's a 3-inch label punch, and it just has various sizes. I always like when I'm punching, I turn my punches upside down so I can sort of see what I'm doing. And I'm going to put this just within the edge because I don't want to waste any of it. I'm going to open that up so I can pop those out as they go through. And again, you know, you could do this with any kind of punch. It doesn't have to be this shape. And I may pull out some of my other punches to use. Actually, let me put 2 of these to the side and do some different shapes and different colors. And some lighters and dark colors, sort of mix. But just because you don't have scrapbook paper, or, you know, maybe you don't have the money to buy like these, I literally sort of asked I'm going to try to do 2 of these at a time, we'll see. I was looking at them and I asked the lady at Walmart, I said, you know, can I, get some of these? And she's like, yeah, oh yeah, they're free samples. Go ahead. And I'm like, well, I'm not using that. I'm using it for crafts. She goes, oh. And it happened to be, you'll have to ask at your store, or you can go to a paint store and ask when they circle out the old paints and bring in the new. They change the designs, you know, the advertisements on the back, or they change the colors, you know, so usually like around the seasons, they change. And the gentleman that was there, he was actually switching them out, told me to grab, he was like, grab all you want. So, I mean, this is options. Wallpaper, you know, you can buy that. You can get that from wallpaper stores. They have the old sample books. Again, if you have your big box type sewing stores don't normally, but if you go to, and I've probably cut more than enough of these, but I'm just going to go ahead and cut them because I may use them later on and I'm not even worried about the writing being on there. I sort of like the writing being on there. I think it sort of adds a different element to it. Yeah, I'll leave these over here. And I'm sorry, my voice is a little scratchy today. I'm not sure why. I'm going to leave my yellow to the side over here, my bright goldish yellow. This is a 1 1/4 inch circle punch. So I'm going to do some circles here. And then we're just going to go to town, layering it up. I sort of like getting the name of the color on there. I just think it adds to it. Sort of, you know, if you put a postcard in, it's really awesome if it has writing. Okay, let me set these to the side. We may need these later. And then what I'll do is, when we get done, I'll just come through and cut her here. And that'll still leave me that color strip. So, you know, if you need a lot of different colors, it sort of gives you an option. I'll go ahead and do this just in case somebody wants to know how. I know it's not hard. It's not that hard to figure out how to trim it up. Another thing, while I'm talking about it, and I don't have any out right now. I didn't pull any out. I'll probably do that on another journal maybe. If you go to like Menards, Lowe's, sort of your lumber type big box stores, you can actually get the laminate flooring that's like the wood. If you need wood grain for something, you can get, you know, small squares of wood. When they get, if you ask there, when they're getting rid of theirs and they're bringing in, you know, the new styles for the new year or whatever, a lot of times they'll let you have those. So there we go. Let's put this over to the side. Let me get rid of all these little cutoffs here. Okay. So we have these. Now, this is paper, so it'll glue down really easy with like art glitter glue. And I am going to ink up my edges just because that sort of gives a different color green to the outside. And then you could use Mod Podge with this. I really don't want my paper to buckle, so I'm just going to get it right like that. And again, I'm just gonna sort of make sure that I move my colors around. Like if you have all the same tones of green, you don't want to use all those together. And I just do them at all different angles. Isn't that yellow pretty? That was Morning Willow Green. Yeah, so this is what I'm going to continue doing, and I can overlap them like here. Maybe put the yellow one right there just because, you know, it looks good. And then I have my circles too, so, but I'm actually, I think I'll use my circles later. Ooh, that's a pretty green. And then we'll go over with the golds. I have some other things we're going to use it and sort of put it on there. So just using different stamps. So I mean, and some of them I'm going to let, you know, hopefully you guys, you know, let off the edge, because then that's going to create that, not so much look like it's, you know, hanging off the edge. And when I get done with these, if I've run out and I don't have enough of these, then I can go back and I can stamp these 3 color ones even. And I'm not going to worry about the wording, I mean, because we can actually cover that up if we need to. I think I'm just going to put that one right over the hole. There we go. And it just adds a different layer. I'm using art glitter glue because this is paper based. If you didn't want to use art glitter glue, you could use Fabri-Tac. You could actually use hot glue even if you wanted to. I mean, it wouldn't really matter. Let me put that in between there. And I'm just going to keep layering these up. So, I mean, and you don't have to use even this. You could use, you know, you could do it with scrapbook paper. You could do it with construction paper. You could do it with magazine pages, you know, because, I mean, this isn't a very big area. So you can find, you know, areas on a magazine page that have just that one solid color. So, I mean, you could go through your magazines and and I used a larger a larger punch here. You could use a smaller punch. That way you can, you know, use, you know, whatever. If you're using, I mean, there's a ton of things you could use. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and try to come up with every idea of what you could use because there's just so many. I'm going to make sure that my yellow is sort of spaced nicely around my page. And you just keep layering it. And you can tell already, I mean, it's really going to create this really pretty look. And with inking around the edges, it sort of adds that, it gives it a different tone around the edges. So, I mean, you could use not just vintage photo. I mean, you could use the distressed ink, any kind of distress ink with the outside edges that you wanted to. Let's see. Well, this is, we'll just put this right here. Building up those colors, and then, so I just sort of like make sure that I don't get the same colors loaded up. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and grab some of the circles now that I'm, and I use those to cover up because you're gonna have little areas that aren't gonna be covered up quite. Like down here in the corner. Try to see if I can, I'll slide it over that way. And I have some other, oops, I was gonna glue my ink pad. I have no idea what that was about. Like right here in there where that little hole is. I can just put my circle over there. And you're just going to keep going, just building up as you go. And like I said, you don't have to completely overlap them. You can sort it. I may have to cut some of the ones. I have some other greens, so I'll pull those out and cut those out with my punch. And you don't have to use punches. You could use die cuts. You know, whatever you want to use. And again, there really isn't rhyme or reason. I'm just building up as I go. This one up here in the corner. Let's see if I can get that covered. That corner covered. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and punch these two yellows that I have because I can go back with, oops, wrong punch. But yeah, so I mean, you know, don't feel you have to be limited to, you know, a certain material because you literally can use anything. And I mean, I have blues and I have, you know, I've got a big variety. There's some more greens. I guess I will use that bright one. It's sort of nice. There's another yellow. So, I mean, you can get them in all different colors. Not too many. My punch doesn't want to do more than 2 at a time, which is fine because these are pretty thick. And it's not worth trying to break my punch to fit them. I'll just do the best I can. There we go. Let me trim these up real fast. Okay. Okie dokie. So let's get back to matching up again. So that is the one I had on the bottom where I was, so I can glue it down here. Let's see, where do we want to put this? Put this one up here. And again, we're just going to go over this and sort of just create it to where it's all covered up. Just varying our colors so we don't have like the same color on top of itself or next to itself. Okay, let's see. Oops. And this one is a little bright, so I'm going to go around the edges. And then I'm going to take my ink and just sort of go over the top a little bit just to darken it up so it's not quite so bright. So you can alter the colors a little bit. And it, you know, may not create a perfect, but once it dries, it'll be fine. Okay, let's just put this one right here. There we go. Let's see. Keep going. Get ourselves all covered here. And we still have our circles to go in. And let's put a light colored circle here. I need to maybe make some more yellow circles. If I didn't, oh, I didn't even get yellow circles, so we'll get some yellow ones. You should keep rubbing it down. And just keep piling them up. Okay, and then what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to stop, turn it over, and I'm going to cut and trim the little pieces along the outside edge. And again, I'll do this again, but some of these pieces are bigger, so I can use them to move around, and you don't want to waste them, so I don't do it on all of them, but at least some of them. That'll work. Okay, so like, you know, we have some of these smaller, we have smaller areas. And that'll clear up some of the little spaces. Then we'll go back up and patch through with some of the smaller ones that we have. And some of them are really cute. Some of them I like doing like that because it does create a different design, and I can just go right along the edge. Okay, let me get this yellow here. Let's put it over here. Then I can go back through and trim those edges off. Like right there, because I mean that's a pretty big edge. That'll, you know, fill a nice space up. And it'll help fill some of these little loose ends down through here. Over here. And then where the yellow, oh, where the yellow touched, let's try to pick this up really fast and just slide it up this way. There we go. Then I've still got my green little dots that I can put over there. And I mean, just these little bitty pieces will fit in. And I'm trying to use all of my little pieces up just to show you that you actually can use every bit of it. You know, normally I would use the bigger pieces and just throw all these little tidbits that are left over in my scrap pen. But yeah, so if you're ever trying to do a junk journal where, you know, you just want a different color background, of course I'm keeping this all green, or if you just want a rainbow one, or like this is really cool if you're doing like an army type journal or something like that where you need like camo, or like out in the woods, that type of thing you could use it for. Let me see, I'm going to try to see if, nope, that's split down pretty tight, so we're going to just put that one down right like that. And go ahead and cut that off and just move it over to a different location. Right there. Okay. So now we've got our little circles to come in and make up the difference. And I'm not worried about the outside edges because I want to come back in and sort of cover those in a little bit. With like a more green colored. At this point I'm just trying to cover up the really big spaces that are, oh, I didn't ink that one. I don't really want that. Yeah, let's put, sometimes the darker ones, if you don't ink, is fine. So I'm just going to cover that little yellow up. Oh, I don't want that there. That's the same color. I'll come back through with a different color for that. Let's see. What color we can use. Choose brighter green here. Well, then I end up still doing the same daggone color. Put it over here. Okay, so let's see. We need something bright. Let's do something bright and springy. Do a lucky lime. So yeah, I'm just going to keep, and we probably will have spots that may look a little funny. I'm not going to worry about those because we have to come back in with our animals too. Okay, so let me put this back on my glitter glue. Let me turn it over. Let me trim up all my edges. Now this time I'm going to trim all of it. And I'm going to go around all the edges. I'm sorry, you guys, for I'm paying too much attention to what I'm doing. So I'm going to go around and just trim all these up. Okay. So we do have a few uncovered places around the edges, but I actually have this green ribbon that I bought, and I thought the green would look really pretty around the edges. So I'm actually going to take it around all 4 edges. just to sort of give it a picture frame a look. I'm gonna hate when Fabri-Tac does that. So I'm just gonna run a line down the side. And then just lay my ribbon on there. Smooth it down. Then I'm going to pick it up and trim it off. Okay. Then I'm going to come to the other side. And I'm going to run a line up. So you see where I said like on the really small edges it didn't matter? This is why, because I knew I wanted to run this ribbon up the side. Some more off here. And again, I'm just going to line it up on the edge and smooth it out. Put some pressure on it, just sort of apply it down some. And I'm going to trim it up. And I'm going to come over here and trim this one up. Well, you turn it over this way. It works better to trim it that way. Okay. So we have those. Okay. I'm going to turn it and make sure I'm in frame still. And I'm going to run a bead. I'm going to run it right across here because I'm going to take the edge all the way across. So I'm going to run some on top of there just because I thought it would hold better in this direction. Because that I would get less resistance overall album wise. Okay. Flip it over and trim it up. Okay. I may pull up a little circle. I think it'll be okay. And then I'm going to lay another bead this way. And again, you can put as much, as little, or as much Fabri-Tac or whatever glue you're using that you feel is necessary. Some people overglue, some people underglue. I think it just sort of depends on the person, or you know what they're using. I mean, some people tend to go real heavy on lace and some people tend not to, and I sort of overglue a lot on everything, I think. Okay. And again, I'm going to trim up this side. And now while I'm thinking about it, I'm going to go ahead and grab my punch, and I'm going to go ahead and punch my holes out. And again, just like with all the fabric, you may have to cut that little bit that it doesn't quite disconnect it all the way around. And I don't really worry about that a whole lot because I know that I'm going to put grommets in, so that's going to be covered up. I just try to get any of the big stuff that would maybe get in the way. Okay. Get that out of the way. Okay, so this is going to be our page. You need to make sure when you get ready to do it that you do make, that's why I wanted to punch my holes. It just makes me a little bit more aware that this is the side that's going to go in. And I have a little floppy part on my ribbon right here, and I just seen it. So I'm going to run another little bead of glue through there. Sorry about that. Okay. Okay. So I have that. Then these are our animals, which I'm going to put one sort of down in the corner. and one sort of up in the corner. Sort of like right where the T of the ribbon is. Although I can't do that up here, so it's going to be just sort of over onto both. So I am going to grab some cheesecloth, and this is my brown. This is because there's so much green on there that I sort of want the brown to sort of stand out a little bit. And I don't mind cutting the little small ends of my cheesecloth off when I put it on there, because, and you do have to watch this if you use Fabri-Tac on it, because Fabri-Tac is acetone based, and because this is, you know, it is, they actually do use paint when they coat this. It will pull it up if you're not too careful. So be careful of that, because if you go and put a big bunch there, you will pull it up. And that's what that streak of that green was, is, well, you can see it even on there where I'm gluing, because I'm trying to wipe it off, where a little bit of the acetone pulled up the paint from the paint chips. Again, there's that overglue thing, which is why my fingers are always covered. And then I'm going to put my little wombat down here. Okay. And I can trim my little edge down, but I'm going to leave a little bit out of there because I like that. And this up here doesn't really bother me. So up here with my other one, again, I'm gonna put a little glue to hold my cheesecloth down. And you can put your glue on there. You'll notice it sort of change colors a little bit, as long as you don't take the tip of your glue and rub it hard against it. Then it will come off. But now if you wanted to write something into a paint chip, then you could do that. And then I'll trim this down in just a second. Go ahead and put my cat down. And we're using a wombat today, of our Australian animals. And we're also using the spotted tail native cat. I'm going to try to hold that down and let that have time to adhere through the cheesecloth. I'm going to trim this up just enough that it's not touching, where it's right next to itself. Trim just a little bit off here. Then I always come through and sort of pull it, because I want that, I like the raggedy look of cheesecloth. Let me, no, I'm going to leave it. It doesn't really bother me. I don't know, when I was going to use my gold leaf pen, but I actually think that it doesn't really need anything. I don't know. There's not a lot of gold, so let me. Okay, so I'm going to come in here and just I thought I had one left. Maybe I don't. Okay, hold on. Let me put my lid back on here. And I'm going to cut a circle. Oh, no, that's not what I was going to do. I remembered what I was going to do. On top, let's find some of the yellow, since the lighter yellows. There's two light yellows, and let's find a pretty, there's a pretty green, and, ooh, I did another green in here that I like. Yeah, I sort of like that one. Okay, we put these aside. I have my thick ticket punch, and this is made specifically for thick materials, so it will actually cut chipboard. So, I mean, I could have put all 4 of them together and cut it, and it would have done it without no problem, because, I mean, it doesn't even phase it. But you can't take one little piece of paper and cut, because it won't cut through it, so. Okay. So I have this. Let me grab one of my scrap piece of masking paper I use over here. And I'm going to use the gold pen and go around the edges of the ticket, just adding that golden border. And then I'm going to scoot it to the side, and let me do that side a little bit thicker. I got glue on my fingers so it's wanting to stick. And then I'm just going to do that around the corners of all 4 of these. And this is going to sort of give it a little golden type frame. And I could have done that around each of my circles or each of my designs, even if I wanted to. And again, I'm just going along the edges. I'm sorry, guys, for getting quiet on you. I know sometimes it's hard to concentrate and do things and talk at the same time. And this looks ridiculous to probably go, well, you know, why would you have to get quiet when you're just rubbing a marker on the outside edge? But I'm trying to sort of rub it back and forth so it sort of creates more of a layered look. So it's not just a flat gold, it has more of like a 3D look, if that makes sense. Okay. There we go. So I have those, and I was thinking it might look cute just to, I may only use 2. I think we use the 2 yellow ones actually. And then I'm going to put a little yellow one in each corner just as decoration, not really to, there's not a rhyme or reason to it, just thought it would add a little cuteness to it, just sort of a different layer of something. And it's got the gold on it, so it sort of adds that little metal frame, and at the same time you could go through with, try to get that glue off there, glue boogers. I'll put this one down here. These are sort of little decorations, just to add a little bit extra, and that gives you a little bit of room. I could actually take my gold marker in and write 2020 on it, since we're doing this in 2020, or you could write, you know, whatever you want to. And I mean, I did 2 little green ones. I mean, you could put green on here anywhere you wanted to too. Like, I mean, you could have just put that one there and the yellow, you know. So, I mean, you could add different things. I'm just going to leave the yellow ones there because I like that the way it is. Yeah, so see, that little bit of color. Now, you could take it and go back in and, you know, go around the outside edges of each one to sort of give it like that golden puzzle type look. I'm not going to do that because I really like it the way that it is. I think it sort of adds to it. It gives it a lot of sturdiness, but it sort of has that different, you know, the raised and lowered, the different textured look to it. So there's pockets on the back. So this is it for today. I hope you guys had a great day. I hope you liked, you know, using our paint chips to do it. And we will be back tomorrow for another video. Have a great day. Bye.